What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Cheeky Midweeky, where we are making strength and conditioning not boring anymore, and we do that by highlighting the practitioners that work in all fields of strength and conditioning. This episode, we are joined by a coach that used to work in the team sports setting and now is working in corporate wellness. You might be wondering, why should I do that? Why should I care? That's why this episode is for you with Coach Ian Samuelson. Before we get into it, please hit that subscribe button. It costs you $0, but it helps this show grow so we can reach more coaches who can help more athletes. It also costs you nothing to hit a rating and review. If you do that and you take a screenshot of your rating and review and you email it to us at service@strengthcoachnetwork.com, we have a free gift to you for doing so. Here at Strength Coach Network, we pride ourselves on giving you the best quality information from strength and conditioning coaches and practitioners that still work with or have worked with athletes. And this is not theory. We are always about giving you practical information that you can apply day one the minute you're done listening to this. And you can check us out for a $1 trial in the link down below. Click that link and find out more about us. Vacations are meant for you to be outside doing things that you love and reconnecting with your family and your friends and recharging your battery. It is not meant for you to travel and listen to some coach talk in a conference hall and eat some food that you know really isn't the best thing that you want to be eating. Take back your vacations and do so with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. When you purchase an annual membership, you're going to get access to our course, Performance Coaching 101. In the subsequent years, it'll renew and you'll get access to 102 and 103. Each year, you're going to get access to 2 NSCA CEUs and 10 CSCCA CEUs. These CEUs will allow you to be able to learn from the comfort of your office. You'll be able to earn CEUs on your time rather than having to travel. Take back your vacation and be able to do this with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. Click the link down below for more information. Go again and just, again, briefly introduce yourself so that way everybody...
Yeah, sure. So, Ian Samuelson, I've been a strength coach for it feels like such a long time, because I'm a second generation strength coach. I think it's the only guy I've met that can also say that is Jay Epley, Boyd Epley's kid. We had a little run in at Michigan
as well.
Oh yeah, Peter Ken now. There's one more. Aaron Hillman's son. He's a director somewhere. So I'm in good company, I guess. But yeah, I had the really kind of strange at the time opportunity in very podunk rural north central Indiana to have a strength coach in 2007 when I was playing football and throwing the shot or trying to. But even more unique in the sense of, it was my father, right? So we would go through these workouts, and then, I'd go home and like, Dad, what the fuck was that, man? Like, what are we doing here? And he kind of talked me through it, not in the probably as in-depth way that we can now. I mean, certainly not, but it was enough to really get me the itch. I really got the itch early to want to do this for a career. Originally, because I loved sports. I love to compete. Football. I always say my wife is my greatest love, but football is my first love. There's pictures of me, I'm sure, like a lot of other kids, just out in the back in my plastic. Minnesota Vikings, don't know why, but plastic Vikings helmet, trying to play football at 3 years old, and I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to give it up. I was recruited, kinda, play at a couple, small colleges. There wasn't much to recruit. I'm 6 foot on a good day, and I decided to kind of let it go and go down the strength coach thing.
TeamBuildr has been my trusted source for online software programs for my athletes since 2019. Since then, they've continued to grow. They have this new practice integration where practice planning can integrate with the sport coach. You have your sports science, your AMS, the questionnaires. They've continued to evolve and keep giving you the things that you need. It has made my life easier as a strength coach. I want the same for you. You do not need to keep printing on lift cards. Please, printing on lift cards in Excel, you don't need to do that. If you need help being able to purchase it, they have a pre-written written grant on their website. They're also part owners in the Plyomat with Coach Rich Burnett. So if you need to get a good device that can accurately and validly and quickly get your jump height and ground contact time, so now you can get RSI, Plyomat's a great choice. We utilize that at Goldfinch. Check Team Builder. Check them out in the link down below. Please stop printing on lift cards. It's going to make your life easier. It's going to make your athlete's life easier. It's easier to program on the back end. Check out Team Builder in the link down below.
So I looked at schools that would help me do that, and really have had one objective since. Plan B was make Plan A work since I was 18. And went to Ball State and started cutting my teeth where I could. The learning curve at Ball State was steep. It was very steep. And, it really took some lumps, especially as a young kid where you're coaching dudes that are bigger than anyone else you've ever seen in your whole life, but also 3-4 years older than you. It was a pretty crazy experience. But it's just been kind of going ever since, and, getting up every time I trip, and 12 years later, here I am. So I've been fortunate enough to be in a lot of different environments. Did a stint at, on the Olympic phase, the Olympic side of the coin, worked a little bit in high school, found my way back to college football, for a little while, and am now in the corporate, I guess, side. Just jumped in with Exos, working with corporate. It's corporate performance, really, not even really corporate wellness, but it's corporate performance. So
2 things that I want to touch on before we get to that, the corporate stuff, is what do you think is wrong within the world of strength and conditioning, college, university, like when you're a student?
Boy.
Right? And because you talked the Ball State, cut your teeth when you could. Like,
Yeah.
Let's double click on that.
Okay. I think it's important to understand first, especially with NIL and revenue sharing and all that, those are completely different worlds now. So we're talking about in, 2012, 2013, the experience at Ball State, where, by the way, David Feely was the head strength coach there.
Who's now
the director at Duke, who has his own very credible reputation. So trying to learn while strapped to that comet was pretty. It was a lot. But I think just the demographic of college sports as a whole is insanely different, right, from those days. So, when I say cutting my teeth, at Ball State, it was a lot of just sort of getting in where we could and just helping these really gritty, tough dudes how I could, right? I was armed with a USAW and a can-do attitude. And we're just in there giving them hell, right? So, but fast forward, gosh, how many years is that? 12? I don't know. To Bowling Green, where now dudes are getting paid. The transfer portal is running rampant. The kid that was at those MAC schools is different, right? And I mean that by, and everyone has their own experience, right? Everyone has their own unique roster of kids, but speaking with other guys who coached in the MAC, especially, back when I was starting, it was full of kids who, background aside, just had a chip, right? They had a chip on their shoulder. Not even a chip. It was a boulder. They had a boulder on their shoulder. They were the guys kind of like me. When I was growing up playing, I got where I wanted to go through hard work, right? I'm not a very genetically talented guy. I wasn't a genetically talented kid. Those guys obviously were further along the line than I was, right? But they were the ones that felt like they had something to prove, right? The MAC offer is what I got. That's where I'm going. But now, and not to discredit these kids currently, bless you, not to discredit the kid, but just the landscape is so different to where now, we can just hop in the portal, right? We can, if we don't like what we got going on for whatever reason, we can hop in the portal and kind of try your luck there. That's a whole other conversation, right? As far as what the potential ramifications of that are for an athlete.
How about the actual, like, going to, the university side? Like, okay, if anybody listening to this right now and they just graduated, right? And they finished their degree, the master's degree, or anybody that's listening to this and they're still in school, maybe they're a GA, or anybody that's, reflecting on their time 20 years ago, 30 years ago in school, what do you think could have been done to improve the college experience?
For the athlete themselves?
No, yeah, like us, the practitioners. How can we improve when you go to university or college to get a degree in strength and conditioning? Because there's not even really degrees in that. It's always exercise stuff. What's the way that we can make the education system better?
Oh boy. I think first and foremost, you got to take a good look at Springfield. And I know that are you a Springfield guy? Did you go to school in Springfield?
I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm
okay. So you're very well aware of it, right? I've heard you talk about the Springfield Mafia plenty of times on this podcast, and it's very evident. You go to a NatCon or anything, and they're just out there in droves, right? They run in packs. I think that really is testament to how they're doing and what they're doing. Does the degree actually focus in strength and conditioning at Springfield?
I'll research it as you go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah. But I think they've done a really good job. I've heard a few people speak about just the demand that there is from an academic side to graduate, kind of in that little niche that they've built. So I think that they're doing a really good job of creating a framework for that. Speaking toward kind of where I was at Ball State, as great as the exercise science program is there, and was there when I was around, I think that there's too big of a need or a demand for all facets of exercise science or kinesiology or whatever that is. So you go to, say XYZ University and you look at a course list, and it's a lot of things that you do need, anatomy, physiology, biology, all the ologies, right? But I at a university that's fairly known for that, that XI program, I took one strength and conditioning class, right? It was one strength and conditioning, actually called that class. So I think just a concerted effort from academics to just be a little bit more focused on kids wanting to get into actual performance, right? And we can talk about performance as a framework kind of as we go along here, but I think as I say that too, though, that it's starting to happen, right? So if you look at what Brian Mann's doing down at Texas A&M, right, creating a curriculum, and that might be a little bit more sports science based. I haven't really dug deep into that, but now we have a very highly regarded tenured former strength coach, right, in the classroom with kids, right, teaching the ins and outs, because we all know that once you pass those classes and get that CSCS, now is when the real education starts, right? That's when you start figuring out, none of this stuff that actually was taught to me works in real time.
That's what I want to try to. That's my question, is like, how can we fix that? Like, how do we make that?
I think that's just a time and room thing. in order to have those experiences and take those lumps, I think that you gotta be the guy writing the program, delivering the program, evaluating the program, rewriting the program a week in, and just rinsing and repeating until you're more refined.
Hawken Dynamics is my preferred choice for force plates and for handheld dynamometers. Made in the USA up in Maine, I have been using them since 2020 when I was at Towson University. Still use them at Goldfinch today, and I've brought the plates to the high school that I've trained at. We will use the plates and transport them when we train athletes at the many different high schools that we currently work at. As I said, they are a handheld dynamometer as well with the true strength. You can assess athlete internal, external rotation, hip, AB, adduction, calf strength, hip, whatever you want to assess, you can do with the true strength. It also has the ability to pair with the difference striking machine, so now you can see single strike, multiple strike. Check out Hawken Dynamics down in the link down below.
I think that some of that can be achieved through maybe more poignant academic quote unquote rigor, whatever you want to define that as. I also think there's a great deal that could be placed at the feet of people handling internships, right? So I did 4 internships. I did 4. So
Did you ever do like 2 at the same time, or was it like
I did 2 at the same place, but not at the same time. So I was at Ball State intermittently throughout my undergrad. I bounced down to Vanderbilt for a semester in order to quote unquote graduate.
Yep.
And then I hopped up at the University of Michigan, where I was there for Coach Harbaugh's first football season. And then once that was over, I hopped over to the Olympic side, right?
Yep.
And of those 4 internships, there was one that had one and a half that had a defined curriculum.
That's it?
Yeah. Yep. So I had one that was literally like, go coach. And then I had one that was, this is a snatch. This is a clean and jerk. This is how you program for a strength cycle. But even so, there was no actual application, right? And rightfully so. I think looking on the other side of the fence, you don't want to hand you don't want to hand an actual athlete or an actual team to some kid, But I think there's kind of that fine line of it's the best way to learn. It's the best way to learn. I think
it is the best way to learn. And one of the reason that I want to interject there is like this is a program that when I look back on it now, like they have interns have to read like no joke 10 books in a semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, no, like what? 10 books in a semester?
That's insane.
That's
insane.
That's so stupid.
It is.
Let's call it what it is. That's stupid.
That's getting to the point where there may be athletes on the floor and you're in a corner reading a book.
Or you're just not allowed to coach it. Like they're not really allowed to actually coach. Like they kind of are, but they're just parrots. And then they're not graduating there, understanding how to actually be a good coach. Sure, they understand that they have to read, but it's like, listen, when you do something like that, that's the whole everything's a priority, therefore nothing's a priority. Like trim your reading book list down, even if it's 6 books in one semester. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think there would be a lot of value to adding interns to meetings. Yeah. I think a big thing that I remember, being a 24-year-old assistant strength coach. I'd never been in a meeting before with a coach. Like, jeez. Like never done it. I'd never done it. So I think being in meetings, whether that be with a sport coach, with an athletic trainer, with a PT, whoever, to kind of understand the nuance of what's going into that program. Okay, is step 1. And then step 2, let that kid help you run that program. Whether it be input during writing, right, with programming, allowing them to take, a couple of guys, that you trust, maybe older kids that don't need as much supervision. someone in the rehab process, right, where it's a one-to-one, more, a more personal relationship, or interaction, excuse me, that you can kind of oversee, right, and make sure, nope, that's not right, go this way, there's guardrails, right, so that way no one is, I hesitate using the word danger, but no one's in, no one's ever at risk of something actually going wrong. But then also, they are able to have that experience. I had a really, I've been very fortunate to have really great mentors, right? And one of them, I worked for a guy named Bo Sandoval when I was at Michigan, who's currently.
That's what I thought when you said the Olympics. I was like, I wonder if that was definitely when Bo was there.
Yeah, so I was with Bo, and Bo looked at me one day, dead in the eye, like probably this far apart. He said, "If you do anything that can fuck up my program, it's a terrible program." And he's right. He's right.
Yes.
He's right. He's like, "You're gonna be fine." Because at that time, I'm still scared out of my wits, to really get into it and coach a kid. And he's like, just let it loose, dude. Just let it loose. And I have carried that with me, and I have said that to I don't know how many young kids that I've either directly oversaw an internship or have interacted with them, at some point. It's like, you're not gonna fuck up what I wrote. You're not. Okay? Let it rip. You're gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Okay? It's gonna be okay. If you really ruin something, either A, that's on me for being a bad programmer and a bad coach, or B, that kid is super fragile. So yeah, man, I think that there's never going to be a shortage of kids that want to do this, right? I think that's actually kind of the root of some problems in our profession. But the flip side of that, the positive of that, is we have a lot of opportunities and chances to try some different things to help them learn to be really good, and maybe have to make a couple of switches, right? There's always going to be another intern class. There's like 3 a year, right? So there's a lot of room. If anybody's listening to this and you have your internship curriculum, take a good hard look at your Word document or PDF or whatever. And if nothing's changed in 2-3 years, it's an issue, right? It's an issue.
Amen. I couldn't agree with you more. There's such beauty in that, and I wish I would have heard Bo Sandoval say that to me back when I was.
Oh God, I have dozens of Bo Sandovalisms.
Boisms.
Dozens. He's awesome.
I literally have, if it ain't broke, break it, because of a presentation I heard him give. Powerlift has been my choice for strength and conditioning equipment ever since I got into the field. Right now, I still have their racks, I have their barbells, I have their bumpers, specialty bars, and we have the IMTP device at Goldfinch, and it's been great for us because it's allowed us to free up the rack where we used to have to do the IMTPs. Now we use that IMTP device, roll it around, we've created more space. You have to check them out. Doesn't matter if in your college, high school, pro, tactical, or private, they have the ability to make whatever customizations and whatever adjustments you need. I was a part of the weight room that was the 32 brand new rack facility at Iowa football. You see what they did for TCU football. Doesn't matter how big, how small, whatever your customizations are, Powerlift is number one in the exercise equipment space for a reason. Check them out in the link down below.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, those great.
So the corporate side, this is all, like,
yeah.
To me, people are interested in this because I think they want to know other opportunities to do what they love, like exercise. Yep. They understand movement is medicine. They understand the positive effects of how it can help you do your job better.
Yep.
But you probably it's gonna fall in line with a lot of guests that have talked tactical with me. Mm-hmm. They've said you can't be a strength coach put into the tactical world. You have to be a tactical strength and conditioning coach to understand the nuances.
Yeah.
Do you have to do the same exact thing as a corporate wellness strength coach? Because you're having different conversations with people in the C-suite, and like that's just a whole different world that you have to live and language you have to use.
Yeah, it's very different. It's very different. kind of to not to maybe be a little bit counterintuitive to what some of your tactical buddies are saying. I 100% agree with what they're saying, but I've kind of had a little bit of a different way of going about my line of thinking with it. So kind of as I've hopped into this, and it's been really interesting so far to look at some parallels that I've kind of seen with training athletes. I think the first thing you have to really, really be honest with yourself about is, what does the word performance mean, right? And I think when you broaden that out, to me, performance is, the execution of a task, right? And if you keep it broad, you now have your toolbox as a coach to use what you have and what you know to help so-and-so execute that task, right? Whether it's Saquon Barkley needs to score however many touchdowns for the Eagles to win 12 games, or so-and-so is, a special forces operator, and, he has his list of functions that he needs to be able to complete in order to do his job, to now, my role is so-and-so wants to be able to focus better in meetings so that they can execute, asking the right questions and making sure that they understand everything fully, right? That's what their performance means, okay? So now me as a physical performance coach, and that is technically my title is performance coach. What can I do to help manipulate that, right? So it's less about, obviously, bench press and deadlifts, and
it's
no one
gives never about anything besides how much you bench and deadlift.
Yes, well,
get that in your mind.
You would laugh at how many guys in this building really do care very much about how much they bench press, which is fun. But it opens up this whole world of possibilities to, okay, how do I help this person succeed at their job, right? Which is what we all do, right? Whether you're coaching at such and such university, or with the Chicago Bears, or Apple, how are we helping the people that are in the building execute their job?
Do what they want to do.
Do what they want to do.
Reverse
do what they want to do. Period. Right. So, kind of getting back to your question, how have I kind of tried to execute that in the corporate world? It's much more holistic, right? I've had to really dive into things like sleep, things like nutrition, things like travel habits, which I did not, going on a business trip, right? So it's a brave new world of, what do we do to manipulate some physical markers in order to get this vastly different, hopeful outcome, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does. Anybody that's considering doing it, what would be some, looking back, kind of techniques, strategy, like how to break into it? Because even most people didn't know about tactical back in the day, or even high school,
I got lucky.
Vitruve has been my choice for VBT for years now, not only because of the encoder and how well it works with the app, and you can film movements with the camera and get live variable feedback in real time if you so choose to on the app, but the fact of the amount of content they have been pushing out to help coaches better understand VBT. It's not only just to move the bar faster. You can be working on what's the appropriate load for high rep sets based off velocity loss. You can be looking at velocity loss threshold between sets, in between reps. VBT is not just moving the bar fast. It's moving the bar fast with heavy weights. It's not just moving lightweight fast. And Vitruve has been at the forefront educating coaches on VBT and how to do it the right way. Check them out in the link down below.
I happen to live in an area that was very close to the building I'm in, right? So I was not headhunted, but I was able to find a job posting very, very easily. But I think one thing that that I really could recommend is, one, this sounds like kind of a cop out, but be a good practitioner, right? Good coaches will find jobs, right? If you're a good coach, you're going to be more successful in interviews. You're going to be more successful in conversations. You're going to be more successful when you are asked to execute what you do, right? Having a good solid base of just what a physical performance coach does, in terms of moving those traditional needles, that's the baseline, right? Because my first opportunity to talk with Exos was that meeting, right? And a lot of people have done them. Hey, record yourself demonstrating this, that, and the other thing, right? People want to make sure you can coach, first of all. And then the other thing that has really helped is just being open about what you don't know, right? Be okay with coming in and not knowing every single nuance of the job, right? I know nothing about sales. I'm not a sales guy. I don't want to be a sales guy. So how do I relate to people who do that for a living and want to be better at it? Ask them about what they do. Hey, how do you do your job, right? How do you do your job? What are the things you like about it? What are the things you don't like? Just getting into interpersonal relationships, right? You hear about that all the time in our industry of, you have to be able to be a person, right? And communicate with a person. I think that no matter where you go, that's a huge foundation, right? And then kind of a little bit more specified is it's very helpful to have other tools in your pocket, not necessarily in a mastery level, but understanding the things that are outside the weight room, right? So the big things for me are, I always ask how my people are sleeping. I always ask what their diet looks like, because when you get to the root of it, whether you're speaking about injuries or again, performance markers, everyone is still a person, right? Everyone has the same energy systems. Everyone, still needs carbs, proteins, and fats and water. There are foundational things that whether you are working in the NFL or the MLB or the business corporate world, some things are universal, right? So have experiences outside of being able to get a guy really, really strong, right? Or get a guy really, really fast. Have some knowledge base to be able to help those things that maybe help athletes perform better that aren't necessarily what we do, in the 2 or 3 hours that we see them, right? Because if strength isn't the needle that we're trying to move, you got to use other things to move the needle that they want.
I'm going to make an assumption here, but I'm guessing nobody in your world brags about taking 12 hours to do something that could have been done in a short amount of time. Like, they're not like, oh, Ian, you grinded on this for 14 hours and you're operating on 4 hours of sleep.
No.
They'd look at you and be like, you're
what are
really
you doing?
Bad at your job.
It's hilarious how the second you get out of, I'm going to pick on college, I guess. The second you get out of college strength and conditioning, how ludicrous other people think the habits of college sports, not even necessarily strength and conditioning, are. The 14-hour days, it's the maybe 5 hours of sleep. Why? Well, I don't be on TV, I guess. I don't know. It's funny. I was speaking with my big brother in this business who currently in the NFL, doing the thing, and he's like, it's embarrassing that we are the subject matter experts of health and performance, no matter where we are, right? And we are oftentimes the worst example of health and performance, in terms of things that don't involve a barbell. It's kind of, it's embarrassing, honestly.
It really is.
That's a whole other. We can have a whole other hour conversation about, the.
We just need more people to stand up and be a good director. Like, shout out to Kier for what he did with his staff when his staff had like different teams, and he would be like, no, you come in the morning and you leave in the afternoon, or you come in the afternoon and you don't come in the morning. And if one of those coaches' teams wanted to train, in the morning, but that person was an afternoon coach, he'd be like, no, you can't train then. There's not enough coaches doing that.
No, there's not.
Coaches, and I'll give myself a little bit of credit where I used to tell my assistants, and Logan, Kate, Moto, Zach, and Carson, they will all vouch for this. There was times where I would find out if the other teams that they were working with, in addition to training football with me, if they had nothing going on and it was an easy day with football, I told them, I'm like, if you come in during the day, I will fight you. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to come in. You need to go you need to go recharge because it ain't that serious. And then other people in my department be like, where are they? I'm like, I don't need them.
I don't know where they are. It's not my business to know. Right. There's the Bruce Arians, man. I don't know him. I hope I meet him someday. Cause there's it circulated social media a couple years ago when he was still the head coach of the Bucks, of like, I got three young kids, right? It's a big reason why I left BG, right? Was I hadn't seen my kids, during the season. I see them like 3 hours a week, which is unacceptable. If you miss a recital or a game or something to your kids, I'm firing you, right? This game is not that complicated, and it's like
it's not.
It's not. It's really not.
To Mike Leach, who used to go and watch a movie. Mike Leach would leave the office to go watch a movie because he knew his staff wouldn't leave if he was there. So he would leave to go watch a movie so they would feel comfortable to leave.
Yeah, there's a lot of dysfunction in college. I think I can only hope that as, the younger generation kind of moves in and takes the places of, the desk guards of the world, hopefully that changes.
Dasher has completely changed the game for how I'm able to time my athletes, whether I'm doing ACL, max velo, or curvilinear running. Had the blues, had the blacks at Goldfinch. Now that I have the silvers, this has saved me so much time in setup, breakdown if I'm going from Ankeny to Huxley, or from Ankeny to the Nevada location, or Nevada to Huxley. Like, wherever I got to go time athletes, it has made my ability to go from one place to another so much easier with the silvers. Strength coaches that have to go from one field to the other, or from the field to the court, this will help you save time. Now, in the spirit of saving time, you also have the ability to have an API interaction with TeamBuilder, so now you can see all the data on the back end. Seeing data on the back end, Dasher has a free app, a player profile app, that will allow athletes to see their data. Over 6,000 coaches and athletes have done so. And if you want more than just the timing gates, if you check them out in the link down below, they have solutions to help you out with vertical jump, broad jump, RSI, all that. Check them out in the link down below.
Right. I personally, man, again, I love football. I love it. And I've even talked to a bunch of my buddies, like, man, I'm getting itchy. Like, I wish I could go back, but I also know the repercussions it would have on, my wife, on my kids. And I don't want that. Right. So I'm really hoping for the day to where, maybe this is just wishful thinking, that, that it is a little bit more manageable, right? It is a little bit more manageable.
It is manageable. And so, how they say, like, I've never done heroin or like any of those drugs where like it's the greatest high you've ever had, right? Like, nothing ever compares to it. Where everybody's like, where in the world is he going with this? I'm saying I worked at Iowa with Chris Doyle, and I saw an example where he assigned, we weren't desk guarders, and you had a coverage day where if Ian, your coverage day is Monday and my coverage day is Tuesday and DeMarco is Wednesday and down the line, Ian, you're first in, last out on Monday. But on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if your job's done, you can leave when you're done.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like, now, don't come crying to me if you didn't get your job done and your performance weren't right.
Right.
You're not guarding your desk.
Yeah, and I think that we're hopefully moving towards a point to where that's a little bit more acceptable just globally, right? To where it's not just expected to just be there and for literally no other reason than just to say you're there. And it's God knows it's cost a lot of people marriages and relationships with kids and
life, happiness.
Life,
they're
life.
going out. They're like, some of these people are out there, popping perks all day to get through the day, drinking at work just because they're that. And it's like, it ain't worth it,
right? And like,
it's just
it really takes the joy out of the game too. Like I've told buddies of mine, like I did this thing and it was a life goal of mine to coach college ball, and I did it, and like I barely remember it. It was 2 years ago. I barely remember it. Because I was just so stressed, and we got to do this thing and then that thing and then and just like there was never a moment to just breathe it in and really like acknowledge the fact that I did this thing that I set out to do 12 years before. And it just, I think that the habits of coaches take the joy out of the game that we all fell in love with as kids, right? And again, we can all hope that it comes back around a little bit. I'm waiting for someone to win on a 30-hour work week. I think it's possible.
But you have to.
I think it's possible.
We have to be rooting for and championing any of these teams that are doing it that way.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, and when you hear it, that it's not saying that you can't work. Like, no. Work so stinking hard during those 40 hours of your work week,
right?
That you are exhausted.
Yeah.
Because there is not a minute.
100%.
Like anybody, go watch the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, where when he's the intern and he's like, I had to leave the internship early because I had to go pick up my kid. So I didn't hang the phone up when I was I was done on a sales call. I just kept the phone at my ear, hit the button, and redialed. People are chit-chatting at the office bubbler. I'm not even drinking water because I can't afford to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Like, that's how obsessed your work time should be. And then be that obsessed about unplugging when you're done.
Meanwhile, at a Power 5 school, how many times, Justin, you can be an example. You get done with a group and you sit at your desk and just wait around for the next group, or you wait around for practice,
or you just wait until it's like, okay, I guess I can leave now.
Or I guess it's an acceptable time.
I won't get my
balls out of here. Yeah. So we can all the second it happens, everyone's like, oh man.
Let's give that a shot.
What have we been doing? So, let's try that out. God knows, I got a 12-year-old kid. I barely remember his name. Let's maybe try.
What is that again?
Getting out of here at 3:00 after, So, yeah, I think
we just have to keep preaching that message.
Right.
Just distort reality, because Steve Jobs is a perfect example of a task an Apple will take as long as people assign it. If you say we have this long to get it done versus like, nah, bro, you got this long. Get that shit done.
Yep.
Distort fucking reality. Period.
So
distort reality.
Yeah. And moving over to corporate, that is that's a really big thing that I've noticed as well. It's mandated in our contract that we're here from 7 to 7, right? 7 a.m. Just the building doesn't close. Neither does the gym. We would like someone here for 12 hours. Fine. Totally cool. It's a ghost town by 4:00. Right? Like there's no one here. There's no one here. They got their shit done and they left. Like there's no reason else. There's no other reason to be here. Right? Unless you want to get a workout in. There are plenty of
y'all work, like, for anybody that heard that, they're like, wait, you have are some people working now some people corporate are like, wait a minute, I gotta work 512s? Like, do I get paid for the 512? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm not disclosing where I'm at. I mean, you can fucking Google me and figure it out in 5 seconds, but there's plenty of examples around where, you know, I leave at my, you know, I'm one of the very few guys that has a designated time, right? Because unfortunately, that's just how it's written up right now. But there's like maybe 5 cars in the parking lot. You know, like there's no. I mean, because again, when you look outside of athletics, there's a very distinct vision of like, why are you doing that, right? Why are you getting 5 hours of sleep? Why are you just hanging out at work for no reason? What, like, you know, so if I ever return to college, it's going to be a very interesting couple of conversations with, you know, whoever's in charge during that interview process to be like, okay, here's the other, you know, the other path of, you know, how the rest of the world works. What are your thoughts on that?
Can we try that?
Yeah, not even can we try it, but just like, what do you think about getting work done and then, you know, being done with work? You know, I think it's telling to see the quality of your supervisor. The answer to that question, you know,
you even able to, because I'll tell you one thing that I am very stringent upon is, first of all, this thing, my phone, and I've been doing this since Towson. Like when I left work, I was like, y'all can call me, but this shit's going on. This shit's going on. It ain't going to ring until I wake up at 4 a.m. because I'm going to be there by 5 and there's nothing, like I'm not curing cancer.
There's nothing so important. Right. Yeah. So this is really, you're going to think this is awesome, Justin. So when I was getting started here, I was trying, you know, I was getting all my equipment set up. You know, I got a computer and I got, you know, an email and all that. And I was struggling
you get your act. Everybody.
Yeah,
right.
Like, I was getting my badge, all that stuff.
Process. Yeah.
And I was struggling to get my work email onto my phone. So I'm like, well, what if, you know,
I don't put that shit on my phone.
That's like, but that's, you know, being in athletics, it's a natural thing, right? Yeah. To have accessibility while you're home. Drives my wife nuts. Right? Drove her nuts that I'd have, you know, the soccer coach texting me at 10 p.m. Like, why? And it was usually just bullshit, but, you know, still. I am not able to have my work email on my personal devices.
Giddy up.
Yep. I am not encouraged to take my computer home with me because it doesn't work on my Wi-Fi at home. So I am actually, you talk about a strange world. I am actually barred from doing work at home. Yeah. Right? Beautiful. Right? And it's great. It's great. Because at first, you know, it's like, God, I'm going to break out in hives. Like, what if I got to do something? Like, just do it tomorrow. Just do it tomorrow.
Get it done at work.
Yeah. Either get it done at work or just do it tomorrow. No problem. No problems if you don't get it done, right? Meanwhile, 5 years ago, you know, I'm doing GPS after a high school football game at 1 a.m.
I gotta get this
right? I dug my own grave on that. I wanted them, and I wanted the experience of doing them and all that shit. Yeah. But you know, like you're the strength coach 24/7, 365 all the time. You're the guy, right? So, again, like if I go back, and I will go back someday, right? And if it's in a director role, you know, they say the first guy through the wall is always bloody, but there's gonna be some differences in Ian Samuelson's performance department, right?
Like, be rooting for it.
Yeah, like if it happens, y'all better watch out, because if it happens and we win. Now y'all are fucked. Now y'all have to go home before 5.
From the mountaintop, like,
yeah,
look at this.
Yeah, check this shit out. Yeah, now all y'all have to go home by 5. And if I hear from you after that, I'm gonna be pissed. You know, so there's no reason. There's no reason why those worlds can't exist other than us. You know, other than ourselves and the kind of like you were saying the boundaries that we put on ourselves. You know, as a profession. So,
Ian, I greatly appreciate your time. I know there's things to do in the middle of the day. We squeeze this hour in. No, yeah, I appreciate you, man. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Justin.
Here at Strength Coach Network, we pride ourselves on giving you the best quality information from strength and conditioning coaches and practitioners that still work with or have worked with athletes. This is not theory. We are always about giving you practical information that you can apply day one the minute you're done listening to this. And you can check us out for a $1 trial in the link down below. Click that link and find out more about us. Vacations are meant for you to be outside doing things that you love and reconnecting with your family and your friends and recharging your battery. It is not meant for you to travel and listen to some coach talk in a conference hall and eat some food that you know really isn't the best thing that you want to be eating. Take back your vacations and do so with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. When you purchase an annual membership, you're going to get access to our course, Performance Coaching 101. In the subsequent years, it'll renew and you'll get access to 102 and 103. Each year, you're going to get access to 2 NSCA CEUs and 10 CSCCA CEUs. These CEUs will allow you to be able to learn from the comfort of your office. You'll be able to earn CEUs on your time rather than having to travel. Take back your vacation and be able to do this with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. Click the link down below for more information. Thanks for watching that video. If you enjoyed it, click right here for videos just like that, and make sure you click here to subscribe to our channel. Have a great rest of your day.